For millennia, an ancient secret has pulsed beneath the surface of everyday life, whispered by sages, encoded in forbidden scrolls, and woven through the timeless verses of the Tao Te Ching. This truth has remained hidden not because it is complex, but precisely because it is radically simple. The cosmos, at its deepest strata, is not a machine to be manipulated, but a living field, responsive, luminous, and more intimately connected to your state of being than you have ever dared to imagine. Right now, you are immersed in a quantum field of infinite possibility. Every timeline you have ever longed for spins within its depths. Yet, the reality most experience is one of effort, of struggle, of chasing outcomes with rituals layered thick, visualizations repeated until exhausted, affirmations uttered as if by rote, vibrations raised through constant striving, only to discover that reality remains unchanged, stubborn, unmoved. You have been told that manifesting miracles is an uphill battle, that only those willing to master endless outward techniques can shape their fate. But the quantum field cares little for your struggle. It is attuned not to your noise, but to the subtle music of coherence within. It does not respond to the words you speak, but to the silent signal emanating from the very core of your being. Quantum manifestation is the art of tuning into that signal, clear, unwavering, simple. So simple that almost no one practices it as it was intended. Across the yellowed parchment of the Tao Te Ching, echoing through Chapter 1, lies the first crystalline clue. The Tao that can be named is not the eternal Tao. To follow the Tao is to follow the mystery of creation. The ancients taught not to force, but to align, to abandon the inner resistances that dam the flow, and become like water, moving effortlessly around obstacles, carving canyons without striving. The true act of manifestation is not a battle waged, but a surrender received. When you drop the compulsion to shape reality by force, you open to a power so profound that it seems paradoxical. Simplicity, the very essence of the Tao, becomes the master key. In your own life, complexity has crept in like a subtle thief. The mind generates names, divisions, strategies, all in the hope of bending the river of outcomes to personal will. Yet, as Chapter 32 reveals, the Tao is simple and nameless. When people stray, they create names and divisions. The more you strategize, the more you chase, the more you become lost in the maze of your own making, cut off from the wellspring of creation within. Nearly all modern manifestation fails for this reason. It confuses aggressive action for alignment, busyness for effectiveness, force for flow. Imagine now the principle of Wu Wei, not actionless, but action in perfect harmony, without friction or grasping. In Chapter 3, wisdom emerges. The sage acts without struggle and achieves his aims. This is not laziness or passivity, but participation in the universal dance, where intention arises in stillness and the field answers in kind. The true magician of reality is not the one who screams their desires the loudest, but the one who acts from the deepest root of their being, in reverence and inner quiet. But what is it that blocks most from receiving? The answer glimmers in the paradox of emptiness, an emptiness not of hollowness, but of pure potential. The emptiness of the wheel makes it useful. The absence gives value to the presence, intones Chapter 11. You are called to empty your mind of clinging, your body of tension, your heart of frantic wanting. In this vast inner space, intentions form and rise, pure, untainted, ready to contact the quantum field. The process begins anew every moment, accessible to anyone courageous enough to drop pretense and return to the simplicity encoded in the bones of the universe. Simplicity is not the absence of power, but its concentrated essence. This is the ancient secret, so simple that in striving to complicate it, humanity has nearly forgotten its name. In the next unveiling, you will enter the paradox of pure intention. How to desire without grasping, to act without entangling yourself in outcomes, to become both participant and observer in the cosmic theater where dreams collapse into form. The quantum field does not yield its gifts to the restless mind or to the heart that clings with desperation. Here lies the paradox. The clearer and more unattached your intention, the more powerful its echo across the fabric of the real. Just as the Tao covers all things without possessing them, your goal is to hold your intention purely, like a bird cupped gently in your hands, free to fly when the wind calls. Clarity of intention, without the rust of overinvestment, creates harmony with the Tao. Attach yourself fiercely to a single outcome, and you invite resistance. Release your grasp, and you multiply your effectiveness. Picture the cycles of nature, the dance of seasons and stars. Everything unfolds in rhythm, in births and deaths, waxing and waning, silent ebb and thunderous flow. Those who learn to tune their intentions to these cycles access a deeper current. As a seed finds its moment in the warmth of spring rather than the chill of winter, so does your manifestation blossom when aligned with cosmic timing. One who follows the Tao is like a newborn, in harmony with life's rhythm, proclaims Chapter 55. Manifestation is not mere wishful thinking, but synchrony with universal tides. But the ego, the sly saboteur, wants to claim the outcome, to bend the future to its designs, to measure and to hoard. Yet Chapter 7 warns, the sage stands behind and finds themselves ahead, not seeking, and all comes to them. In learning to release the compulsion to control, you open the sluice gates, allowing your intention to ride a current that flows far beyond your personal energy. Imagine intention as water behind a dam. With egoic force, the water is blocked, yet in surrender, the source is unleashed, flooding the landscape of possibility. The greatest creative power is rarely violent or imposing. It is soft, persistent, and endlessly adaptable. Like water, it shapes mountains by wearing away stone through patient embrace. This is the forgotten force described in Chapter 78. Nothing is softer than water, yet nothing can withstand it. Allow your intentions to be seasoned with gentleness, not frenzy, with constancy, not rigidity. As you practice holding your desires with a soft gaze and an open palm, the quantum field responds with clarity and precision. Trust in this process is the final alchemical ingredient, the hidden catalyst. Even when you do not see proof, when the outcome is veiled, trust that the universal process is unfolding, weaving reality behind the curtain. The Tao acts without acting, and all is finished. Its net is vast, but nothing is lost, whispers Chapter 73. Where trust flourishes, doubt dissolves. The seed germinates deep in unlit soil before sprouting into the sun. This is the quiet mastery lost in the noise of modernity, the power to allow rather than to compel. The true path of manifestation is not to overpower, but to become so harmonized with the source that creation itself seems to move through you, effortlessly, inevitably. Next, you are invited to explore the mystical blueprint of polarity, the enigmatic union of opposites, the sacred dance of yin and yang that structures all creation, including your most secret dreams. Within the fertile silence of the mind, the true work of quantum manifestation unfolds. Silence is not mere absence of sound, but a living, breathing space, a portal into the uncharted dimension where the field is most sensitive to the whispers of your soul. In the words of chapter 56, "Those who know the Tao do not speak. Close the mouth, still the mind, and the Tao is revealed." Here, language ends, and the transmission of intent becomes energetic, wordless, and utterly potent. This silence, cultivated through meditation, presence, or reflection, becomes the womb from which new realities are born. The mind, emptied of frantic thoughts and recycled fears, transforms into a vast, receptive chalice. Within this sacred emptiness, intention arises like a pristine spark, unclouded by anxiety, untethered from self-doubt. It is in this state of neutrality that the heart and mind synchronize, broadcasting a signal into the matrix of probabilities swirling around you. Present moment awareness is not just a cliché. It is the only point of true power. Grasp the ancient Tao in the present, and the future unfolds, instructs chapter 14. When you root your awareness in the now, the full force of your energy condenses into a focused beam, capable of bending realities and drawing forth synchronicity. Time folds. Quantum timelines collapse. Manifestation rushes in not from the distant horizon, but from the depth of presence itself. The field, you see, is exquisitely sensitive to this state. Every time your mind wanders into worry about the future or longing for the past, your broadcast weakens, diffuses, fragments. By returning, again and again, to the fullness of now, you amplify your intention until it becomes magnetic, inevitable. Manifestation ceases to be a distant hope and instead becomes a natural consequence of your coherence. Alignment is the pulse of transformation. Harmony is not an abstraction, but a living, breathing reality you can practice, moment by moment. Where most are taught to chase after outcomes, to labor and yearn, the visible masters of old understood a greater truth. The universe does not respond to your demands. It responds to your signal. The more consistently that signal flows from the center of your being, unified in thought, feeling, and action, the more swiftly reality bends in response. Consider this. If your thoughts are fixated on prosperity, but your body aches with anxiety and your emotions tremble with doubt, your signal is scattered, your inner field fractured. The quantum realm does not respond to noise, but to harmony. Every ancient teaching, from the cryptic codes of Hermes Trismegistus to the subtle wisdom of the Upanishads, describes the same core principle. Change occurs not when you perfect your ritual, but when you become the ritual, when your entire being resonates as one. Let this be the moment you step onto the path, not as a seeker grasping for elusive secrets, but as a garden in bloom, radiating the fragrance of realized potential. In the next unraveling, you will encounter practical gateways, simple, profound practices distilled from the heart of the world's greatest mystery traditions, designed to untangle your resistance, integrate your subconscious, and allow you to step fully into your chosen timeline as if it were already yours. The quantum field, in its silent wisdom, reads not just your conscious intentions, but the deeper, often unspoken signals radiating from your subconscious. This is why so many find themselves trapped, repeating cycles of longing and frustration. The surface mind chants, "I am abundant," while the subconscious whispers, "I am afraid, I am lacking, I do not deserve." The field listens, without judgment, to the entire symphony, reinforcing whichever signal is most coherent, most embodied. Scientists on the cutting edge of consciousness, those who peer bravely beyond the veil, have mapped powerful electromagnetic fields emanating not just from the brain, but from the human heart itself. When the heart and mind are in resonance, their fields unite, forming a transmission strong enough to reshape matter. But when the two are at war, when thoughts run one direction and feelings another, the signal fragments and the field mirrors back that discord. This is the secret known to masters of old, hidden behind metaphor and myth. You are both the instrument and the musician, the signal and the signaler. True alignment, then, requires more than thought or affirmation. It asks for embodiment. It asks that you become an integrated symphony. Breath, posture, sensation, belief, and action moving in synchrony. It is not a single moment's achievement, but a living practice. Rather than chase the how in 1,000 directions, return again and again to your now, your breath, your next gentle act, tuning your energy until even your smallest gesture broadcasts the truth of your timeline chosen. But how, you may ask, does one dissolve the invisible resistance? The old programs that run beneath conscious awareness? The answer, again, is staggeringly simple. You do not overpower them with force. You outshine them with coherence. Every time you catch yourself gripped by anxiety, tension, or scarcity, pause, breathe, place a hand on your heart. In the language of the ancients, this is not bypassing, but transmutation. Fear is not the enemy. It is the invitation to presence, to recalibration. Slowly, you begin to build trust with the subconscious layers, showing by your actions that it is safe to let go of the old story. With each practice, each generous gesture, each truthful word, each moment of returning to center, you teach your field to trust the signal. The field does not require perfection, only coherence. Every small act of congruence builds momentum, and the timeline of your dreams grows more and more vivid. Now, you are presented with the most direct, least traveled path to manifestation. The path of being over seeking, of presence over impatience, of holding your desire lightly yet steadfastly. Here, gratitude becomes the amplifier, emotional regulation the compass, and gentle self-inquiry the secret key. Regularly ask, what timeline am I tuned to right now? Do not judge, only notice. Each noticing is a doorway to choice. Each choice a shift of frequency. Each shift a new echo in the quantum field. You become, moment by moment, the guardian and the creator of your experience. Not by manipulating the world, but by tending the garden of your own inner state, until the field cannot help but bring forth the flowers of your most treasured intentions. Prepare to translate this wisdom into practice, sustaining the frequency that will collapse your chosen reality into form, and step into the continuous unfolding of your personal legend. Every act of quantum manifestation begins, continues, and ends with conscious, embodied practice. The field does not require rituals performed perfectly or words uttered with absolute certainty. Instead, it responds to your willingness to tune, to recalibrate, to return to your chosen signal again and again in the face of doubt or apparent setback. The most gifted creators are not those who never waver, but those who swiftly restore coherence when the winds of old patterns howl through the corridors of their mind. Make practice your rhythm. Each morning, before the surge of the world rises to meet you, pause. Breathe deeply. Ask yourself, what frequency am I tuning into today? Gently feel for the tone, scarcity or abundance, fear or trust, control or flow. The first moments of waking are precious. Your field is soft, receptive. Let your first act be alignment, not reaction. Throughout your day, your body becomes a living compass. Tension signals misalignment. Contraction means you have strayed from your chosen broadcast. Do not recoil from this. It is neither failure nor flaw, but feedback, an invitation to return. Breathe. Notice. Ask, what would the version of myself who is already living my desired timeline choose right now? Then, with courage, take one small action from that new identity. At night, as the day dissolves, replay your choices without judgment, only with gentle curiosity. Where did you wobble? Where did you shine? Where did you glimpse your own growing power? Gratitude is not just a practice, it is an amplifier of coherence. Acknowledge your smallest successes, and the field magnifies them tenfold. We are not islands. The ability to manifest, to sustain alignment, is powerfully shaped by the fields you inhabit, the people, voices, and energies that surround you. Just as a tuning fork brings a room of instruments into harmony, your environment entrains your frequency. Curate your spaces with intention, seeking community with fellow travelers, those who remind you of the timeline you are creating, who champion embodiment, who inspire coherence. Let your home, your digital world, your very thoughts become sanctuaries of chosen reality. Fill them with symbols, sounds, and reminders of your highest self. You are creating not only outcomes, but a living world attuned to your spirit. A space in which magic is not merely possible, but inevitable. And always remember, there is no finish line, no summit where you can finally rest and claim mastery. Manifestation is not a destination, but a living, infinite unfoldment, a spiral path that returns again and again to the center, asking you to deepen, to embody, to play. You do not just manifest things, you become a creator, a conscious artist painting on the infinite canvas of the field. You and the field are not separate. When you tune your frequency, you are tuning life itself. The unending dance, the infinite mystery, continues, inviting you into ever deeper layers of wisdom, ever greater acts of creation. Your journey is not for you alone, but for all who will feel the pulses of your presence rippling outward. What remains, then, is the invitation to live, not as a seeker chasing distant possibilities, but as a creator who dwells within the radiant center of their own embodiment. Each day presents you with countless choice points. Will you repeat old stories, react from habit, and reinforce the frequency of lack? Or will you pause, breathe, root yourself in presence, and broadcast a coherent signal into the waiting field? Let simplicity be your guide. The secret has never been hidden by its complexity, but by its sheer elegance. Manifestation is not a performance, a checklist, or a transactional exchange with some external force. It is a remembering, a returning to your original nature. The Tao does not strive, yet all things are accomplished. The sage does not force, yet all desires unfold as if by invisible command. The quantum field is not a distant god to be appeased, but an intimate partner, responding instantaneously to the truth of your being. As you live the practices, tuning your intention to the Tao, embracing the emptiness that invites all potential, acting with gentle flow, aligning with natural cycles, dissolving ego, trusting the process, harmonizing your inner and outer worlds, celebrating the force of softness and vulnerability, and above all, residing in presence. Your life shifts, not through struggle, but through graceful, inexorable transformation. The miracles you once sought begin to emerge not as rare events, but as the natural outpouring of your steady coherence. When setbacks arise, and they will, return not to self-judgment, but to curiosity. Ask, what timeline am I broadcasting now? Where have I become entangled in the drama of the old story? Each time you notice, you gain the power to shift, to realign, to create anew. You become master of the dial, conductor of the unseen orchestra. What you magnetize ceases to be a mystery. You see, finally, what the ancients implied, and what quantum pioneers now confirm. The field does not respond to what you want. It responds to what you are. The signal of your being ripples outward, entangling possibilities, drawing forth realities that match your deepest frequency. And now, at the horizon of this journey, you are invited into practice. Not perfection, but living coherence. Each breath, each choice, each loving act is a quantum experiment, a seed cast into infinity. When you subscribe to this living truth, when you become the field you once sought to manipulate, the impossible ceases to exist. You become the portal, the wave, the observer, and the observed. There is no separation, no barrier, only the continuous unfolding of creation through you and as you. Choose your word, your signal, and plant it as a quantum seed. Let it be alignment, or ease, or power, or love. Stand in the immeasurable presence of your becoming, and know, deep in bone and spirit, that you are the ancient secret revealed. The field is here, now, always waiting, always ready to respond. Keep tuning, keep aligning, keep playing in the quantum realm, where creation, at last, is not something you do, but something you are.